I would always start with, making the sale. I mean, if it's an agency or a reseller, which is most of our customers, I
Hmm.
would focus on making that first sale and try to make that first sale as uncomplicated as possible.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Level Up Your SaaS channel, your go-to hub for agencies and SaaS enthusiasts. If you're a marketer, agency, or entrepreneur looking for powerful tools, fresh ideas, and unfiltered hot takes, you're in the right place. On this channel, we dive deep into HighLevel, one of my favorite platforms, along with partner interviews, new software releases, and expert insights to help you scale faster. As a longtime HighLevel user and affiliate, I bring you the inside scoop on what's working right now. Plus, when you sign up for HighLevel through us at no extra cost to you, you'll unlock exclusive bonuses designed to help you scale faster. Check them out at levelupyoursaas.com. What you'll learn here is how to use HighLevel to grow and automate your business, exclusive partner interviews and software demos, insider news, strategies, and tips to help scale your agency, and live case studies, real-world examples, and expert insights. Whether you're just starting out or ready to take your agency to the next level, we've got you covered. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are so excited to have Varun in the house. Welcome to my YouTube channel and Facebook group. My name is Jenna Lettingham, if we haven't met yet. So we talk all about HighLevel on this channel. If you can't tell, I'm a little giddy and excited today. We have one of the co-founders of HighLevel with us today, and I'm excited to hear his take and how things happened and got started within HighLevel, Q&As, and I'm excited to hear from everybody's point of view as well. Thanks so much for joining us today, Varun.
Well, thanks for having me, Jenna.
Yeah, this is so cool. So I'd love to hear your take on like how I've had Sean on and we've talked about it, and I've heard him and his take on like how HighLevel got started and his backstory of like pre-HighLevel. So I'd love to hear that from you. I've never heard that before.
Got it. I mean, it definitely was a journey. I think Sean and me met at the very first job that I had, and it wasn't really my first job. It was my first real job. I
Okay.
worked for about a month or two teaching people computer science before that. But at that job, they basically gave the new guy the project that they thought was doomed for failure. But it started working. Like we were building a PBX system and phone systems in the cloud, a lot of what Twilio is today. But Twilio wasn't around back then, and there were no APIs to use. So we were building all of that technology.
Wow.
And as it started to work, suddenly, I had a team of 25 people, a team of 40 people. And at some point, I was still young in my career. I was like, well, this is too much. Like I want to get better individually. I want to be a better engineer myself. I don't want to manage a team and, speak for other people. So I decided to, leave that company and go on my own journey. But then I switched to another job and I quickly realized that I was just being told what to do. I had no ability to influence the outcome, no strategic oversight, and I hated that as well. And that's when I realized I actually had it good the first time round. Like I needed to be in a role that was more entrepreneurial, where I had a lot of freedom and I could dictate the strategy and the direction of the company.
Very cool.
And
So
yeah,
was HighLevel your first entrepreneurial like venture?
in a way, but not really the first product that we built, because at that time I left and I got started building apps with my brother, and that didn't work out. And at that same time, Sean was going through the same journey on his side, and he had built a company called Invoice Sherpa that he was trying to sell for various reasons. And that's when we got back in touch with each other. And I was like, well, what's the idea and what are we going to build? And we knew we wanted to build for the SMB, but we were open on what product we were going to build. And our goal was simple. As long as we can pay two salaries and we don't have to work for anyone else, we're successful. That's all we wanted. And the first app we built was an invoicing app, and it didn't work for various reasons. I mean, first we tried to monetize credit card payments. That didn't work because small businesses, at least plumbers, electricians using an invoicing app, did not want to use credit card payments because there was a holding period and there was chargeback risk and a lot of stuff that they did not want to deal with. And once we tried to charge for the app, no one wants to pay for a mobile app, right? So lesson learned. But that was about a year and a half just thrown away. And then next, okay, let's build for slightly larger businesses. So HVAC teams. So people with a couple of trucks, let's build job dispatching, calendar booking, and a bunch of tools for them. So we spent another 6 months building all of those tools, mobile app, web app, everything was built. And we started selling that product, and we realized that we had to burn a lot of money to make the sale happen because all of these businesses were not online. They were not trying to find these products to help improve their operational efficiency. So you had to put a team of sales agents together. They needed to make cold calls, try to schedule a demo, then bring these people on to the demo. And it became an LTV CAC game. So there was probably going to be a 12 to 18 month payback period, which means we needed to raise a ton of capital to burn upfront to then be able to make it back on the other side. And if we had to raise a ton of capital to run that business and burn money, there was Service Titan that had already raised $1 billion at that point. There was House Call Pro and Jobber who each had, a few $100 million each. And if we entered that race, if the winner was going to be determined by the amount of capital that they raised, that felt like a bad fight for us to get into. And that's when I think it dawned that, whatever we do, we need to build the company bootstrap. Like it needs to be profitable from day one. We need to build it right. And we can't have such a long payback period. But when we kept building, we built Prosper MD, we built Service Pro Max. There's so much software that we built that was not successful that we got really good at building software, where the technology choices continued to get better. Our ability to build and pivot and make the software into whatever we wanted got better. And through that journey, I mean, we had a few customers, like one customer here, one customer there. And one of those customers was a med spa. And we wanted to put a reviews widget. So, and through this journey, the other thing we learned is we built a lot of operational software, trying to help make the business more efficient, trying to make things easier for them. But the thing that businesses told us over and over again is they don't care about any of this. They just want more sales. And we realized that the way to get sales for a small business is probably reviews, because how do most businesses get found? They get found using reviews. So when we started building review management software, one of the businesses who was a med spa said, I don't know how to put the reviews widget on my site. They had a WordPress site. We asked them for their credentials and they said, I have no idea what you're talking about. You should talk to the marketing agency. And that was Robin. And I think that's when we finally met a customer, an avatar that completely understood the software. Because when Robin jumped on the call, he did not have any questions about how to do things. He understood the software inside out. And his question was, can I buy this for all of my customers, which was about 80 or so. And we were making 1 and 2 sales. So 80 sales in one go was a big deal for us. And then he said, I have 10 other friends who run digital marketing agencies. Can I bring them in? And sure. And then he brought them in and they bought it for all of their customers. And one of them said, which was Rob Bailey, said, hey, I'm running a mastermind for digital marketing agencies. There's 40 agencies showing up. Do you guys want to come talk? And over there, we got another 40 clients. And then it just started to go word of mouth. And I think that is how we got into what HighLevel is today. So to that question, is this the first entrepreneurial venture? Yes. But is this the first product? No. We built for maybe 4 or 5 years of failure before this was achieved.
So the 4 or 5 years, is that after Sean sold his other company?
Yes, exactly.
I didn't realize there was such a gap.
Yeah, there was a huge gap. I mean, both of us were living off our wives. So my wife paid my bills for a long time. His wife paid his bills for a long time. My wife was incredibly supportive on day one. And by year 4, she did start asking me if I was just watching Netflix at home. We had a child coming at that time as well. So she was like, well, now's the time. Like, if you're going to start making money, you either have to go back to a job or start making money with this company because we're having a child and it's time. And luckily for us, I think there was a 12-day difference between my first son being born and Rob Bailey's event. But
Wow.
it was perfect timing because if that didn't happen, I would have probably had to go back to work.
Wow. That is so cool. I love that it worked out for you like that. And I love it for all of us. I've seen just the evolution over the last, for me, it's been about 3 or 4 years now. So it's been, I think, amazing to watch and witness. And it's really cool. I love hearing that extra backstory. What has been like I feel like your most proud like staff moment? Like I can't imagine growing a team that big. And what's one thing like that you've learned too, like
Um,
growing a team of
I
that
think
size?
I think initially a lot of the team was hand built, where I interviewed every person, and there was no one else to send them on to even do a second round, right? So I interviewed them, and if I liked them, I hired them. But I think building that initial team was a lot of, and the good news is all of those people are still here. So all of the people that I hired in the first year, the second year. So as far as engineering teams go, one thing that's been incredibly fun is to build the culture and the team over here, because no one has left,
Yeah.
which is I mean, we're an anomaly compared to most companies. And at least getting that initial team in that was building the software without you building it. Initially, I think there was a lot of, I won't say nostalgia. There was a lot of FOMO of, hey, I'm not writing the code anymore and I'm missing out. It was almost a flashback to the first time I went through that journey and I started to have a team of 25, 30 people. But this time I just learned to let my hands go and then just let the team run with it. And I think
Hmm.
that was an incredible moment to see the product continue to be built and evolve without me having to write every line of code, and to see all of these strong leaders. So one thing that we've always looked at when we're hiring people is finding people with an entrepreneurial bent, because we've noticed that people who have been entrepreneurs in the past can just take a problem statement and run towards an outcome, versus people that are used to being told what to do. So we love hiring entrepreneurs. So I think just putting that team together and then seeing them continuing to execute has been incredible.
That is so neat. What is like one thing that you're super excited for, like within the next like even year?
And this is where, it's easy to jump into the cool features and AI, and, everyone has an agent builder now and all of those. But I think what I'm even more excited about is seeing this team mature, because I think we built the organization and the team for a particular purpose, at least early on. It was releasing fast. It was each person and each team being independent and being able to run by themselves without having to worry about the other teams and the process. And everything in the company was driven bottoms up previously. But I think now as a company, we're at a place where we cannot have all of the different teams dictate their own strategy and run in different directions. And
Hmm.
as a company, there is strategy, like whether it's with pricing, whether it's towards industry or niche focuses, whether it's towards outcomes, there is a priority that we have for the company. So we're actually flipping that model around to make sure that there's more alignment between all of the different teams, and there's more strategy involved. So when a team is going to push something out, they've thought through how all of the different product areas are going to react to that. But this is a new motion for us, where we're switching from each team dictating their own roadmap to the company dictating their roadmap. But I think this evolution is really cool, because I think on the other side, what we've seen is, from a feature standpoint, we have most things that our customers want. I think what everyone's now asking for is maturity. They're asking for stability, they're asking for performance, they're asking for predictability, and
Hmm.
they're asking for completeness. And when they ask for completeness, they're not asking for compare to competitors and build more. They're asking for, how do you make sure that some feature that you have in documents and contracts works really well with workflow automations, which also works really well with payment systems, and it's greasing all of those wheels. And I
Yes.
think that is the focus for us as a company, is how do we make sure that we can check all of those boxes so our customers are happy.
Yeah. I love all the fine tuning that you guys have done this year. And one of them is like a small, like tiny detail has been like the media library being like pulling from all the different functions and features within high level. Because it used to be like, oh, I go into the course and I have to download it from my computer instead of the media library. So I feel like these like little changes have been a world of difference and help
Yeah,
of like
and we have a
time.
ton more of those. I think with the media library, that's a good example, because we've had that new version of the media library for about a year and a half or 2 years. But I think, again, because each team was dictating their own roadmap, in their own priority, integrating with that roadmap is not the most important, might not have led to the best outcome in terms of adoption. But now that we're flipping the other way and looking at, hey, from a company perspective, it makes no sense for the same media library to not be used across the app. So now all of the teams just have to wrap around it. So it's similar things with custom fields. We've had custom fields for maybe 3 or 4 years now, but there are, about 7 or 8 field types that are missing and have been missing for a long time. But again, when we introduce those field types, workflow automations need to work with it. Documents and contracts needs to work with it. Funnels need to work with it. So this is the type of effort that requires the entire company to jump in and help push it forward instead of individual teams, pushing them forward. But we're making sure that we get a lot of that stuff done now.
That's neat. So if somebody is just starting off on high level, what is the number one thing that you would suggest to somebody?
It depends on the persona, but I would always start with, making the sale. I mean, if it's an agency or a reseller, which is most of our customers, I would focus on making that first sale and try to make that first sale as uncomplicated as possible. Because the biggest challenge we have is when someone comes into HighLevel, and it's partly our fault because we throw so many features out there and there's so many menu items. Like people feel like they need to really understand the platform or learn it all before they can go out and sell anything. And that can become a very big spiral, because if you try to build everything, learn everything, then you're also trying to sell everything. Your implementation becomes more expensive, your sales pitch becomes more complicated. I think it just leads to disaster. The easiest thing is to pick up a particular tool like voice AI, like reviews, like the chat widget, and just go sell that one thing to a few businesses to get your foot in the door, and then try to add on more as you continue to grow that business. Hey, I've got the voice AI done for you. How about we set up conversation AI? How about we set up automatic review requests? So I think you need to edge in piece by piece. You don't have to go in and try to sell every feature to every business or try to understand all of the high level platform on day one. I think it's just going out there and making that first sale.
Yeah, I love that. And do you have any recommendations on like hiring that first person before we go into general Q&A?
So I mean, I think you need to hire someone with a positive bias, with a positive outlook for the world in general, because the amount of challenging situations you're going to run into is a lot. The amount of ambiguity that you're going to get hit with is a lot. So you need someone who can always see the glass half full, who can always be positive, can take on any amounts of challenge. So I think you need someone who can deal with ambiguity and be incredibly entrepreneurial. So in some ways, this person should almost be a clone or should be like you in some form. I think that would be the best person to hire.
Love it. And does anybody have want to come off camera or off mute and ask anything while he's here? So I want to open it up to anybody else to ask any questions. Charles?
I'm always up for questions.
Yeah.
So, you talked about all the features that you guys released, and you released a ton of features. But what two features, without feeling like you're just saying what's hot right now, okay? What two features do you believe will be true agency differentiators from other platforms, not just what's hot in the news right now, but what's going to stand the test of time and be differentiators that's unique to HighLevel?
For agencies in particular?
Yep.
So for agencies, and I think we've already found the two, and we found these two from agencies. And even recently, I've been talking to other platforms that have been building for digital marketing agencies in the past. And a lot of them got these requests, but they just never built these features. The two of them are the white label and the sub account. I think were incredibly key, which a lot of platforms still aren't building, which is surprising for me. And I think beyond that, the snapshot again was a incredible innovation, I would say, that came out of the agencies. Because that word snapshot, I just came up with it. The parallel I had was EC2 and Amazon, and Amazon had these volume disks that you could take a snapshot of. So a snapshot would essentially not have any of the runtime data, but it would have all of the persistent data. And that's why I came up with that. Well, it's not going to have any of the runtime data from any of these accounts, but it will store all of the configurations and the workflows and the automations that are built. But I think that came purely out of the agency. So I think when we initially started signing up customers, the first 40 that came from the event, for instance, a lot of them said, hey, I like all of this, but we're selling other, I mean, we're getting our clients onto other platforms today. And I like that all of it is here. But I would prefer not to tell them it's a different platform, because the minute that they know what software it is, they're probably going to cancel with me and try to go to that software straight. And they might not realize it, but we're the person that's bringing the value in. It's not the software alone. And we completely understood that. And that's why we added in the white label. And it's an agency and it's a white label, they manage multiple clients. So they need the ability to switch between all of these different accounts and be able to get stuff done for them. So which is why we added in the sub accounts. And then the snapshots, because as new clients come on, hey, for all of my dental clients, the setup is pretty similar. It's just some few variables here and there that change. And that's why we added in the global values and the snapshots, so they could quickly customize those settings and jump in. So I think everything, and beyond that, I think as we kept going, we saw a ton of people start to sell as SaaS, which is why we added in the SaaS mode and SaaSpreneur. But all of these lessons are coming from the agencies. So it's never us that's figuring out the magic and then going to the agencies and the marketers and telling them how to do it. It's always them coming and telling us how they have figured out to get our product to more people, and it's us really just obeying that.
Awesome. No, I think it's, you know, and that kind of leads me to another question. So like with the SaaS mode, obviously I love SaaS. V2 was a big move. SaaS V2, bringing the ability to, you know, now use multiple payment providers, putting it into the sub account instead of at the agency level. How do you see permissions and roles evolving over the next year or two? And this has been highly talked about, especially at the Level Up events, for agencies when it comes to multi-brand or multi-location clients.
So multi-brand, I mean, I had a talk with that team even recently, and I think we first put this out 2 years back at Level Up, that we were going to do it, and customers have been asking since. And I think there's two types of customers that ask. There's one where I have not figured out who I'm going to sell to yet, but I want to try to sell this software to multiple different types of people, and I want a different version of the software for each industry or niche I'm going to go try to sell into. I want to have one for one doctor soft and one lawyer soft and whatever it is, and I want to go try to sell, and whichever one works, I'll double down over there. I think the other person that we have asked is they have really big businesses on each one, but they have 30, 40 accounts under each of those. So I think they're coming up with a version that's going to allow the custom domain, the custom CSS, and the custom JS. So you can have, lawyer soft, dentist soft, whatever, different software, different domains, different CSS and JS. So you can style it and theme it separately. And they're going to stop there, because if you keep playing this forward, there's also different Stripe accounts, because maybe I want to connect a different Stripe account for each of these businesses. And there's different SaaS plans, and the plans tie into the Stripe account. And you can keep going down that complexity. But I was like, let's just get to this point where we can allow them to customize the themes, the domains and everything. And then let's listen again. And if we'll see how deep we have to go over there. But that piece will come out soon.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
I love that. Anybody else have any questions they want to hop off mute and ask? Cool. How much have you felt like internally, and this is just like a really cool question, I wasn't going to ask it, but has that investment helped, and has it changed like how you guys operate? Will it change how you guys keep operating?
I mean, and I see this all the time. And I mean, some of this is, just the struggles of building a large company, and, it's putting out 100 fires a day. But, I will routinely jump into the Facebook group, and there's people talking about how we leave features half finished because, it raises our EBITDA and we want to sell for multiples. And, there's all of the stories that I see around it. But the reality is, between Sean, Robin, and me, we still very much run the company day to day. We're on calls every day. We're making all of the decisions ourselves. So the amount of time our board spends telling us what to do in any of these is little to none. And even with things like pricing, and this is where there's the reality of how things happen, and there's, the perception of how it is felt. Like with things like pricing, like, hey, the minute private equity investors came into HighLevel, now they're going to nickel and dime us for all types of things within the app, and everything is going to be paid. But the reality was, we just hired a lot of product managers and a lot of engineers, and we gave them different focus areas, and we asked them to all go. And they did what any good product manager engineer would do, which is go try to make more money for the company. And in some of these, like I said, it was a bottoms up effort. So now we just had to switch it. We were like, okay, now hold on. Our customers are feeling like we're putting a toll on every gate. Let's pull this back and let's relook at this. And there will be some big announcements coming at Summit where there's stuff that you're paying for today where the charges will go away completely. I think on things like the GPT action, where we had a wrapper on top of OpenAI, we had a markup on those previously, and now we've dropped the pricing to base level. And I think there will be an announcement going out today. So you might be one of the first people to hear it, where we've actually made it 5% cheaper than OpenAI even. So if you use any model calls through HighLevel, it will be 5% cheaper than if you go to OpenAI direct. So I think wherever possible, we're trying to bring it in. Like we saw N8N launched execution pricing 2 days or 3 days back, which was crazy, even on the self-hosted version. But on the other side, what we're trying to do is bring in more plans. So for the heavy users who are using premium actions and stuff, I think for people with 10,000 actions, there was a $10 plan that people love. But beyond that, the pricing was starting to get expensive. And our internal team was benchmarking to things like Zapier, Make, and all of those. But we're like, no, no. So we don't play in the premium segment. We need to be the best value for money there is in the market with most of these. So let's bring those pricings down. And I think there's a couple of interesting announcements that will come there this week as well. I think a lot of these are just the challenges of building a large organization, hiring tons of people with autonomy, giving them goals, and every person goes in a different direction. And sometimes you'll have to reel some things back and consolidate before you put it back out there. But most of the decisions, I mean, outside of the ones taken by our teams that we then end up changing, are taken by Sean, Robin, and me. So the amount of times that our investors spend on any of this is zero.
Interesting. Good to know. But I love the way you explain that. So appreciate that. And I know it's kind of brought up sometimes, but I love hearing your insight on it. Do you ever miss being in like the day-to-day coding of the platform or externally?
Nope, I don't. And I mean, I still get to play around with some things, like with when AI became big and all of the models and everything came up. I built a few RAG systems just to, and nothing I build goes to production anymore. So that much is true, because there's too large of a team and too much that they do. For my own hobby projects, I definitely get to play around with all of this. Like Cursor came out as an IDE, and I spent quite some time using Cursor. And if for nothing else, I try to pull GitHub statistics for all of the people on the team to see how much code they were committing, and then trying to evaluate what each of those commits was worth to see who on the team is doing a good job versus not. But all of these are just, hobby projects that you can get to play around with. But I don't get to push to production anymore. But I don't feel that pain at all, because in talking to customers, in talking to the team, I think I'm getting a lot of my pleasure from just seeing the outcomes now versus having to be the person that created that outcome.
Very cool. What's your hope for like the next 5 years?
And the one thing that we've realized is the opportunity is much larger than we initially even anticipated. I think we're far away. So back to that first goal of, let's get 2 salaries paid. I think we've gone from 2 salaries paid to a much larger vision now. Earlier in the year, we went to Australia to do a SaaSpreneur event there. We were in the UK, and it was really interesting to see how much potential there was for the software. And we learned different things in each market. Like in Australia, we learned that, we need a local team in order to be able to sell into the Australian market, because people in Australia love buying from people in Australia. And in the UK, we learned that, with VAT and taxes, there's a bunch of gaps that we've left. Like on e-com, today we do the automatic VAT, but then the VAT doesn't apply on the shipping charge. Like there's all of these small things that were missing for each market that we learned. Local data processing and residency requirements are really important in healthcare and others for places like Australia. I think there were a lot of lessons learned, but the opportunity we sized was also much larger. I think the minute we came back from all of the trips, I've started hiring a lot of people to start solving all of these challenges for us long term. And the way I see it, we can be, and today everything is AI powered. So we can be the AI business operating system for all small business. And whether it's moving them off of Excel, moving them off of other platforms, or moving them off of HubSpot or Salesforce, I think the potential is large. So even before we think about mid-market, up-market, all of those, and I think just within the SMB space, we could completely own that. And previously, no software company has been able to make a lot of progress here because everyone tries to go to market direct to the SMB. And I think the model we have through marketing agencies and resellers and people that can actually help SMBs get to outcomes, I think that was the missing piece. To win in the SMB market, you should not be trying to go at it direct. You should be going at it through your partners. And other people have done this before. Microsoft did it with things like Excel. So I think this was known, but somehow with SaaS, everyone just missed that piece and they thought they could go direct. I think we have the right model. I think we have a great platform. Which we're making even better. We should be on the desk of every SMB now. So that is the larger vision.
That is the goal. I love it. Do you know how many are there big missing gaps of like where and who there's probably not any now of like who you're serving and who you're like, oh, I wish we could serve X clientele. But there's
but we are starting to get some of those, but the times where something is missing, today we get a lot where they want a lot of security audits and reporting because we're starting to get a lot of really big clients. Like I think there were, I don't know how many of these names I'm allowed to drop or not drop, but we have insurance, like a ton of insurance agents that belong to a particular company that have all been using HighLevel independently. And then the company was like, wait, hold on. If all of our agents are using HighLevel, then we should probably just buy HighLevel and give it to all of our employees, or we should sell HighLevel to all of those agents. And we've had similar things happen in real estate. So there's a lot of those type of deals that we're starting to walk into, which isn't our goal and isn't our bread and butter, but making sure that we get the required certifications and the compliance obviously opens those type of markets up to us. Outside of that, we definitely get some of time tracking, accounting and payroll, project management, and ticketing. I think these are the pieces that we today hear about that we haven't touched and don't have plans to touch this year. So I think there is still more product we can build. And all of this, I guess, pulls us more towards the ERP space. So there is still more product that we can build. But our goal for the foreseeable future, like 6 to 12 months, is hit the performance, the stability, the product quality, the UX deadlines that we want to hit. And the minute we're there, I think we'll probably look at building more product.
Cool. I love that. Anybody else want to open up a mic, ask anything?
I don't have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, piggybacking off of the features, you guys have been pretty much hit the ground running for 7 years, almost 7 years straight, without letting off the gas, letting, feature release after feature release, which has been amazing. Recently, you guys implemented a short development release hold, which I actually thought was amazing. I loved seeing it. And some people may be like, why would you want releases to stop happening? But how important do you think that pause for HighLevel on the dev side was? And do you see that being kind of a recurring theme, like once every year, hey, we're going to just take a pause, reset, make sure we're all on the same page? Because it felt like after that was released, then everybody came back more focused, more driven. So just wanted to get your take on that, because I know that was a big difference.
Yeah. No, so I think you're asking about the retreat. So there were two things that happened around the same time, I think, that are leading to that outcome. So we did take the entire team on a retreat where we got them all together, got them aligned on the vision, motivated and excited to push forward. But at the same time, we put a release framework in as well, because again, a lot of these teams are releasing in parallel. And sometimes what the reviews team is pushing out probably does not see what the contacts team is pushing out until it gets to production. It's all tested in lower environments, but they truly meet each other only in production. And sometimes there's unexpected consequences. So I think one thing we've added is we've added in a release framework where everything gets built and put together the same way like a rocket assembly or an integration happens. And that same build gets tested by a team for a few days, and it gets promoted. Once it's certified, gets promoted to a beta where customers can experience it, and then gets promoted to prod. This just means that instead of 10 releases going out or 15 releases going out every day, one release goes out that day with all of the 15 releases, and it'll probably be 3 or 4 days before it hits production. And just through that time, I think a lot of issues get caught that previously might have been missed. So I think that's leading to some of those outcomes where it feels like the platform doesn't go down as much because a lot of them are being caught way ahead of time. But I think getting the team together and aligned on a vision was really important. And from a user experience perspective, I think it becomes even more important. So something we are doing is we're setting up an office in Dubai for the HighLevel team. We're calling it the HighLevel Innovation Hub. And what we're going to do is put 30 to 40 of our product and engineering leadership in that office all the time. And every year for a month at a time, different teams of 30, 40 people are going to come into the office and work closely with leadership. We're going to make sure that they're working well with the customers. We're going to make sure that they're thinking about the roadmap right. We're going to make sure that they understand the product quality requirements and the experience that we want to hit. And then they get to go back to execute on it. Because one of the challenges with the remote team is you'll see one team make like amazing gains on user experience and design, but no one else within the org knows anything about it. And as far as they know, they're doing the best job that they know that they can do and that they've been doing forever. So they don't see that the bar has risen. I think bringing some level of hybrid or in person again can really help us bridge that gap. So our version of hybrid is 1 month in the office, 11 months at home, instead of 1 or 2 days in the office and the rest at home.
So everyone will take turns?
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really neat. Vanessa, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to make a comment and just tell you guys, thank you so much. HighLevel has made my life so much easier. I'm not the typical agency type person. I'm a coach and a business strategist. So I started using HighLevel just to make my life easier, where I wasn't paying for Kartra and this one and that one and all these different things. And as I started doing that, my clients were like, oh, wait a minute, what are you using? And my business, this whole SaaS part of my business, which did not exist before 2022, has just kind of taken off. So I just want to thank you guys for all of your dedication, for all the things that you do. Support is amazing. I have used just about every platform out there, and I can tell you that HighLevel is definitely the cream of the crop, the top of the top. So thank you.
Yeah. And I think all of what you said has worked on the other side as well, because recently I've had senior leaders from Kartra, from Kajabi, from all of those platforms try to jump ship over to HighLevel. I think they're definitely hearing that message as well. And business coaching and consulting actually is one of our top niches. I think right up there with marketing and real estate and others. So I know we have lots of business coaching and consulting in the platform.
That's true. Congrats on your success, Vanessa. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on today, Varun. I want to respect your time. We've been here for 45 minutes almost now. So I appreciate you coming on, sharing your insights, how HighLevel has grown. And thank you so much for just sharing the different aspects of like how you handle things for and with the team. I really loved hearing your end of the story.
Awesome.
Thank you. And that's it for today's video. I hope you found this helpful and some actionable insights to grow your business. But we're just getting started. If you want more tips, tools, and strategies to scale your business and marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and drop a comment below. I'd sure love to hear your thoughts or answer any questions. If you're ready to take your agency to the next level, be sure to head on over to our site, levelupyoursaas.com. We've got everything you need to grow, automate, and scale. Ready to get started with HighLevel or upgrade? I've got all the links below for you. Just a quick reminder, I'm a HighLevel affiliate, not an employee. And I only recommend it because I use it every day in my business. Signing up through my link costs you nothing extra, but you'll get the exclusive tools, training, and courses to help you succeed. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.